62 homes sold across the Interlake this July at an average of 334,000, down about 7% from a year ago. And if that's all you heard, you'd probably guess the market has just cooled off for the summer. However, it hasn't, not evenly anyway. That's one regional number covering up some of the biggest single month swings we've seen in a year. Once you break it down community by community, Selkirk, East Selkirk, South Interlake, Lake Stony Mountain, Warren, Gimli, Sandy Hook, Winnipeg Beach, Teulon, and Arborg, Riverton, Bifrost. This is the local Interlake market breakdown for July of 2026. Here are the actual number breakdowns. 62 single-family homes sold across the MLS areas of R12, R19, and R26, down about 3% from 64 a year ago. And the average price came in at just over 334,000, down 7% from the nearly 360,000 in July of 2025. This is the first real regional dip we've called out in a while. 5 very different areas baked into that one figure. We're going to go through each one by one. One thing worth noting up front, even with July's dip, the Interlake still holds a real price advantage versus the Manitoba wide. The average price in the Interlake is about 120,000 less than the Manitoba wide, which works out to about 26%. Before we get into the individual areas, here's just a quick note. If you find kind of breakdown useful, market data without the hype, hit subscribe. I do this every month for both the Interlake and the Manitoba Winnipeg wide markets. If you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere in the Interlake, I've put together a couple of resources that might help. A seller's guide that walks through what exactly moves a listing in a market like this one, or a first-time home buyer's guide if you're newer to the process. Both are linked in the description below. And if you'd rather just set up a time to talk, there's a link to book a call. It's a quick call, 15 minutes or less. It'll be a conversation about what these numbers mean for you or your specific situation, whether that's Selkirk, the South Interlake region, or anywhere else north. I'm Justin Zinkowski with Royal LePage Prime Real Estate. I work across both the Interlake and the city of Winnipeg. So starting with a number that's going to raise some eyebrows for Selkirk and East Selkirk. 10 homes sold in July, down about 17 from a year ago. So it equals about a 41% drop in volume. The average price came in at 415,000, also up 27%. That combination usually means fewer homes hit the market, and the ones that did sell were in the higher end price range. The average price shifts up. Doesn't mean Selkirk's 27% more expensive across the board. It means what transacted this month was more towards the top of the market. If you're a seller in Selkirk with a well-presented home, July's numbers say buyers are still willing to pay for the right property. And if you're a buyer, double check the actual comparables for the specific street or subdivision you're looking at. Moving towards the Stonewall, Balmoral, Stony Mountain, Warren area, it tells a different story. 12 homes sold in July, up from 8 a year ago. Average price came in at 449,000, down about 11.5% from this time last year. Last month, South Interlake average pushed just above the provincial detached average. So July's pullback doesn't erase that. It's a reminder that these month-to-month averages move whatever specific mix of homes actually closed, especially one's volume climbs, and 12 sales is meaningful, more active than 8 a year ago. For sellers in the Stonewall, South Interlake area, it's not a signal to panic. It's a signal that the area is active right now, which is good news for anyone thinking about listing. Moving to the beach area, Gimli, Sandy Hook, Winnipeg Beach, 21 sales in July, down from 31 a year ago, and the average price is pretty flat from this time last year. Average price is about 344,000, so about 1% increase, but price barely moved. A different pattern than what we saw in Selkirk. When sales slow down, the price stays steady rather than jumping. Usually points to a market finding its footing rather than getting more competitive. July's numbers suggest less urgency than earlier in the season. Inventory may be sitting a little longer. Gunton area recorded no sales in July. That happens sometimes in this market size. It's not a signal of anything specific, just a quiet month and nothing that closed. June, in comparison, saw 7 sales at a median price of 368,000. Single month with 0 transaction isn't a trend. The conversation worth having is about the trailing months, not this one alone. So we'd rather book a call, use the link below, and we can set up a time to discuss what a real picture might look like. Arborg, Riverton, RM at Bifrost. 5 sales happened in July. 5 sales happened in July, exactly matching what happened in July of 2025. The median price came in at 334,000, up 31% year over year. 5 transactions is a small enough example that a single higher priced sale can swing the median significantly without reflecting a real shift in what a typical home here is worth. What it can say is directionally, price has been trending and volume has held steady rather than dropping off, which is a sign of consistency, if modest, still active. If you're looking in the Arborg, Riverton, Bifrost area, and you're watching what the market's doing, you may want to book a call to go over a longer window or get a more specific price for what your property may sell for. Regionally, 62 sales across the Interlake in July. Average price about $334,000, down 7% over 1 year. On the surface, that probably sounds like a cooling market. Underneath that number, July is one of the more busier months we've tracked. Selkirk's price jumped 27%, even as sales dropped 41%. The South's Interlake price pulled back 11%. Gimli's market was essentially flat from this time last year. Teulon had no sales, and Arborg's median was up with about 5 sales for the month of July. It's a regional average where you look at a specific community. If you're a buyer watching the Interlake, July's real lesson is that the Interlake isn't one market at a time. It can be essentially 5. And if you own a property in Interlake and you're thinking about selling, July was encouraging in parts of the region and quieter in others. Selkirk sellers are seeing a real price strength. South of Interlake had its most active month in a while. Gimli remains steady and reliable. You're in the Teulon and Arborg area. Looking at the past 3 to 6 months may give you a better read on what the market is doing overall. The Interlake overall average was about $334,000, and in July, Manitoba's average price was about $454,000. That's a gap of about $120,000 or about 26%. Manitoba's market as a whole moved a modest 2.45% year over year, with 1,054 sales across the province. While the Interlake region's number dipped this month, it's doing exactly what it's always done, offering meaningful, more affordable single-family detached homes than Winnipeg and the rest of Manitoba. What's your biggest question about the Interlake market right now? Drop a comment below. If any of this hit close to home, whether you're watching from Selkirk, South Interlake, or just keeping an eye on where things are overall. And if you'd like to have a conversation about your specific situation, community, or street, and if today's numbers were useful, subscribe. I break down the Manitoba overall markets every month. You can watch the Manitoba market breakdown next. There's also links in the description below for pricing, selling, first-time home buyers. I'm Justin Zinkowski with Royal Page Prime Real Estate. I'll see you next month's update.